So today I decided to talk a bit about the industry and YouTube. Look, I've got a bunch of stories that are probably shocking, sensational, kind of interesting, that fall within the realm of the culture war, but I decided that I'm going to talk seriously about what YouTube is like and also a general update on the work I'm doing, what our plans are, and I have good news that many of you probably will be interested in based off of probably the title of this video, and that's that this channel is, by many metrics, surpassing the Young Turks. This is not meant to be a dig at the Young Turks. In fact, I actually mean this as a sense of respect to their platform and what they've built. The reason I'm using them is because for the longest time, the Young Turks were considered to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, political channel on YouTube. That's not necessarily true anymore. Steven Crowder right now is getting around 41 million views per month, and he doesn't even make regular content like I do or the Young Turks do. But the Young Turks, as of right now, in the past 30 days, 26,361,870 views, and let's just say about 40,000 subscribers in the past 30 days. Officially, this channel has not beaten them by many metrics. For one, their total view count is in the billions. Well, they've been around for over a decade. This channel is not even a year old yet. So in the past year, I am now rivaling their monthly view count, producing substantially less content. So here we have, which are looking at a Social Blade metrics. We're going to talk a little about these milestones, but I also want to talk about the nature of YouTube and bad news in general. In the past 30 days, I've gained 93,000 subscribers on this channel, and that's completely and utterly mind-blowing to me. So I want to thank everybody who watches these videos. I honestly have no idea why. I guess you just like listening to me talk and ramble on random topics. But you can see my video view count is now over 100 million. This is mind-blowing. This channel is not even a year old yet. I believe it's 9 or 10 months old. But I'm at 26,185,980 views, up 40% over the last month. As of right now, in terms of the average view per video, I am absolutely doing better than the Young Turks. They're producing, last I checked, around, I think like 10 to 15 videos. I think they're doing like 10 videos per day. I do 5, and I'm rivaling their view count, meaning my average view per video is around double what theirs is per video. So theoretically, if I added one more video to my lineup, I would still be producing substantially less content than they do, but I would absolutely be getting more views per month than they would. My subscriber count substantially higher, nearly 3 times what the Young Turks generated. This is their main channel too. Now, I do want to make another point. The Young Turks has a big network. They have a bunch of other channels, but in terms of their key hosts, Cenk and Anna, if we're talking about just hosted content, we can combine my main channel, which is getting 6.5 million views with 1 video per day. That puts me at around 32.2 million views, a little bit higher, which means if we want to get technical, I could argue that my personally hosted content is doing better than the Young Turks at 6 videos per day compared to their 10. I'm getting around 6 to 7 million more views than they do. But channel for channel, I'm just underneath their main channel, though their views have gone down by 30%. Their subscribers are up by 400% in the last 30 days. So actually, my subscriber growth is substantially higher and consistently higher than theirs. Now, of course, they have 4.3 million subscribers. I actually don't think that matters, nor do I think video views necessarily matters. It might matter in some capacity. But as of right now, I think what's important is, in the current news cycle time frame, are you speaking? Is your influence visible? The Young Turks have 4 million subscribers, but they're clearly not watching all of their videos. So that doesn't really say anything for them. The fact that they've gotten 4 billion views also doesn't mean anything because we're talking about a huge time frame. So what matters most is your channel growing? Well, the Young Turks have 4 million subscribers. So that's actually pretty good that they're still getting 40,000 new subs per day, considering they already have a massive portion. It's easier for my channel to grow because I only have, I think, 300 and some odd thousand subscribers on this channel. But in terms of monthly views, this is probably one of the most important metrics. It means that in the past 2 months, my channel has skyrocketed in viewership to now actually rival the Young Turks. Again, not a dig at the Young Turks. I mean this as a sign of essentially respect. I don't agree with a lot of their opinions. I think some of their stuff is okay. I don't trust some of their other stuff. I'm just bringing up a point that they're a long-standing established channel, and now I'm actually challenging that. So for me, I'm looking up at what the Young Turks have built and what they're doing, and they still have a massive network I don't have. But I'm seeing this as kind of like a milestone for me, which is good news. Now, to the main article, which I'm not going to read through. I'm just highlighting this to make a point because we're going to talk about the future of YouTube and what's potentially going to happen. This is a story on The Verge by Julia Alexander. The golden age of YouTube is over. And I agree and disagree with that to an extent. The story is actually rather interesting, and I think it's pretty fair. I think Julia Alexander, I'd give her in my opinion, in terms of her reporting, like a C+, because I do think she's biased, but I don't think she's intentionally trying to smear or attack people like many others do. I think she's written some pretty bad stuff. I think she's written some pretty good stuff. Some of the stuff I read through, it's like begrudgingly like, okay, it's not positive, but I'm not overly negative on most people, even bad. Like there's a few journalists I think are really bad, but basically they go through the years about how, in the early days, these things happened. By 2011, people were making, tons of money. And there's an analogy as to what YouTube is that I want. I'll just tell you, we'll skip over all this part. YouTube is a treadmill, as is basically any service. Now, when you're selling cake, let's say you open a bakery on a street corner, you know how many people live in your area and the extent that you can sell cakes are limited to that space, but then also to what you can ship out and how far and how long will a cake last. So there's a limit. There's an upper limit to the amount of cake you can produce. However, you can work at your own leisure so long as your cakes are good and people want to buy your cakes. You can't control if everybody wants to buy cake. Sometimes new diet fads come in and sales are going to go down. For the most part, you have a storefront, and as time goes on and residential areas become more dense, you can actually see your cakes sell. It's actually not bad. YouTube is a different beast. YouTube is a treadmill. All of us YouTubers are running on this treadmill. In the early days, market saturation was low. People who would produce for YouTube were few and far between. Most of the videos were short and nonsensical viral clips. There were very few people who made dedicated content every day or on a schedule. This meant that if you were a consistent producer, it was really easy to get a ton of views because there's not that much content. Over time, there was a big boom, like a YouTube gold rush, essentially. Everybody started pouring into the platform. They created the monetization program. All of a sudden, you can make money, and people started making money. But around 2014, I talked to some big YouTubers, and they said, we used to get 1 million views. Now we only get 100,000, which means our revenue is way down. YouTube was changing the algorithm. YouTube was trying to make their platform more like Netflix. They still kind of are. So effectively, what happens is the easiest way to explain it without getting into all the nitty-gritty about YouTube is that all of the creators are on a treadmill, and YouTube every year increases the mile per hour. They go beep, 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 and then everyone starts running faster. That means you have to be absolutely insane and made of just to be a machine to survive on this platform. Admittedly, the videos I make on this channel, like the ones I'm doing now, not particularly difficult for me. Comparing this to something like, I can't even give you an example of a channel. Let's talk about the Guru Larry channel. That's, what is his name? Larry Bundy Jr., if you're familiar. He does Fact Finder. He talks about games. Really great channel. I love his channel. I watch all of his videos. That's well produced. He's got a little cartoon avatar. He shows game footage. He does research. That probably takes a long time to make one of those videos. For me, I'm doing I'm doing daily news and politics. These videos are me reading a story and just giving you my thoughts and opinions on things that are happening. So the bulk of this content is created just because I can watch news and read news all day and then give you my thoughts. My main channel is a bit more difficult. That takes a combination of consistent research, a knowledge of the general political sphere combined with going through sources through the day. So that takes a couple hours to source, but these videos are only relatively easy for me to make for my main channel because I have a great memory and I remember sources, citations, and I do research. So still not the most complicated content in the world. This means that for YouTube, my kind of content is actually perfect for the algorithm. It's like talk radio, high watch time, high interest, and the likelihood that someone gets bored with it is really, really low because I'm just talking about what is relevant in the news. So I'm basically surfing a wave of public interest. If I was making, say, hydraulic press videos where the thing comes down and smashes something, well, eventually people say, yeah, I don't care anymore. I've seen things get smashed. I don't want to see that anymore. Things come and go, and you were in one position and a wave of public interest could pass over you, get a lot of views, and then you kind of fizzle out. So two things that I'll mention. Doing news and commentary. Even sometimes, I make videos about pop culture, video games on this channel. It's just kind of like what I feel like, things that I find relevant. That means that there are waves of public interest. I'm surfing on those waves, and I don't have to really worry about them passing over me because I'm literally tracking the waves. I'm there. And so that means I have a very high likelihood that people are going to search for my videos and they're going to watch them for a long time. The other thing is I have had no days off in over 2 years. I don't care. And that's not normal. The average person wants time off. They don't want to work nonstop. They want to go out and do other things. Some people like to go to the beach. Not me. Some people want to go bowling or stuff. Yeah, I've been bowling like a couple times in the past year. I go see movies at night. But I consider everything I do as part of my mission. So what's happening is that YouTube is speeding up the treadmill, and I'm just running faster and faster. And for me personally, I'm going to get all anime on you guys if you don't. Someone told me that's not normal. I shouldn't do this and I should slow down. And my response is that I grew up with Goku, Yusuke Urameshi, and Naruto telling me to respond to the stress by by pushing my limits and never giving up. Those are the lessons I learned. I'm just using anime because it's funny. But like general comics in general, just superhero movies, it's always about pushing your limits and never giving up. For me, I know what I need to do. I know what I have to do, and I won't stop. YouTube can push the button on that treadmill as fast, and speed it up as fast as possible, and I'm going to run until my feet bleed. But something else is really important in this conversation. And it's that there's something called, that I refer to as subscriber inflation. YouTube only displays, when you go to youtube.com, about 15 videos, which means YouTube is going to choose your video. You've got a 1 in 15 chance to be, it's actually, so if YouTube chooses you, you now have a 1 in 15 chance someone will actually click you. So everyone's competing to be the most interesting. Beyond that, how many people are in your space? How big is the pool? There might be tens of thousands of videos in political YouTube, and YouTube has to pick mine out of that. It's insane. So here's what happens. You can gain 1,000 subscribers per day, and your YouTube rank can go down. Meaning, you're running as fast as you can, but the treadmill's going so fast, you're slowly moving backwards. That means eventually your YouTube channel will end because you can't compete. Other channels will push forward. YouTube is becoming harder and harder to succeed at. And with YouTube announcing the changes to the partner program, meaning even if you start a new channel today, you've got to contend with the nightmare of getting your channel flagged, having no access to anybody at YouTube to help you solve these problems, and you can't even get monetized for months. The new channel that we've recently put together, if you've made it this far, Subverse, initially was not monetized, and we were producing, I don't know if we have it all here, but we were producing on-the-ground reporting. We're doing interviews. We've got, look at this, raw footage of an explosion in France produced by our on-the-ground field producer, Emily Molly, there in France, covering these things, doing interviews, covering these events, and YouTube refused to monetize it. They wouldn't do it after months. So look, it was a year ago we produced this 42-minute video on Brett Weinstein about what happened at Evergreen. A year. This video got 253,000 views. It got 100,000 views like in a couple days. It was huge. And we were producing all of this content. And at a certain point, you can see that we kind of stopped, right? 5 months ago, there's a 3-month gap. And I'll tell you exactly why. This cost money. Flying out, doing these interviews, producing this stuff, it's expensive. And YouTube wouldn't monetize the channel. But you know what happened? Around 1 month ago, when we started producing daily content, it's because I was talking to someone at YouTube and said, I have no interest in producing a branded news channel on YouTube anymore because we can't get monetized and I've already sunk money into it. It's just not possible. And they said, let me, figure something out. The response we got back was that they were not going to monetize this channel. They didn't want what we were producing. And this is, look, I understand it's not the same quality as where like Vice News is at, but look, I was the first person at Vice News. There was no Vice News before me, and I am bringing the same strategy for field producing and reporting that I brought that helped launch the fastest growing news organization in history, which is Vice News. They're not interested. Fortunately, after an appeal, me saying, okay, they came back and said, we're not going to monetize your channel. I said, then I'm going to find a different network that wants access to a new audience and that wants to see another fast-growing news organization that could be like Vice was, and I'll just do a deal with them. And then they said, whoa, hold on. Monetized. So now we're able to actually make money off the content we're doing on Subverse. Admittedly, what we're doing with Subverse is subsidized by this channel and my main channel, because the content we're producing for Subverse, like literally flying to France and having on-the-ground reporters, going to DC and meeting with people, most of the videos so far are anchored videos where I'm hosting them and it's almost entirely straight news, but the channel is doing extremely, extremely well. The latest thing we put up from yesterday is a preview of a new podcast show we're going to do where it's just mysteries, essentially various stories that were just not solved. It's kind of like news with no conclusion, but it's meant to be exciting and interesting and inspire a sense of wonder in people. So that might end up being on Sundays. And then we're going to periodically just be doing standard hosted straight news content on YouTube. The thing is, I don't expect this channel to ever get the numbers that I get on this channel because I'm giving you my opinion. And when I talk about a story like the one I did this morning of the Trump derangement lady, harassing an old man, that's interesting. It's like, whoa, what happened? That's crazy. A video like this, I have no idea if anyone's going to want to watch this video, but I thought it would be good to do like just like a standard update. Here's what we're doing. Thank you for your support. Here's where I'm at. So I'll just, we're 16 minutes in, but I was able to, rival the Young Turks channel in terms of political and cultural commentary. We produce very similar content. We disagree on opinions, but it's similar. We're commenting on news and politics. And now this channel you're watching right now is rivaling them. With that, I'm able to launch a legitimate straight news channel. It's not perfect. You can see that we got some videos that have thumbs down. People don't like the fact that so this video, for instance, Emily went down and interviewed climate change protesters. Some people were upset we didn't interview the other side, but you quite literally can't. We just went on the ground and talked to protesters. There's no trying to make anyone look stupid. There's no gotcha questions. It's trying to understand people in a good faith effort. Interestingly, I will add to this, is that whenever people bring up my work, they never bring this up. They don't mention that a year ago we produced a documentary. They don't mention my work with Vice and Vice News. They don't mention the documentaries I've produced, only the commentary, because they want to highlight opinion, because the opinion makes you a good or bad person. But here's the plan we have right now. So I'll do a quick recap and end everything. I am taking pitches. I'm reaching out to journalists. Through the success of this channel, my main channel, I'm now going to start expanding into just producing legit expert interviews. One of the best videos we've produced so far in the past month is with Dr. Deborah So. It's an expert opinion from a sexual neuroscientist, and we go over some facts. Just trying to be no spin. Like, here's the research, here's where we're at so far, and here's a statement from an expert. We also have this interview with a propaganda expert, which is really interesting. The Deborah So video got 154,000 views, and it's just an expert interview. So we want to do definitely a lot more than that. You'll also notice a lot of science videos, right? So we've got superbugs, we've got stem cell stuff, we've got SpaceX, but then we also a lot of science stuff because it's particularly interesting, and it's one of the things that I strive for. So I don't necessarily know if that's what's going to happen, but when in terms of like non-political interesting stuff, science definitely falls in there. But we also see stories like this that we did a morality crisis create the culture war? And this talks about the changing perception of morality over time and how this might have actually led to the calls for censorship and all that stuff. This channel, in about 1 month of producing content, has 83,000 subscribers. I'm really excited. We're probably going to break 100,000 within the next month or two, and I'll get my 3rd silver play button. But hopefully this can become something that's kind of like a middle of the road. I don't want to say it's not going to be biased. I don't know how something could be biased, and especially if you know my opinions, you'll know that I don't like censorship. But the goal for Subverse is just kind of be middle of the road. So it's never going to stop. So long as I keep making videos here, so long as you keep watching because you like my opinions and my thoughts, so long as my main channel is successful, Subverse is not profitable by any metric. But all the extra money, all the money I'm making is being put into this, and we're growing. And that's the goal. So we're going to be hiring people. I'm going to be commissioning people to actually do on the ground reporting. I'm only going to be talking to people I trust that I think are honest, good journalists, which are few and far between. And we're going to vet and fact check. And that's the goal. So I guess I'll wrap up by saying YouTube is dangerous. It is. I don't know where we're going. I could be banned at any moment. It's really scary. We will be launching subverse.net officially, so we can actually start protecting ourselves and having a hub for other content. We're going to be doing a series of podcasts. The videos on my main channel also appear on basically every podcast platform every day at 4 p.m. These videos on this channel, I haven't done anything with it yet, but maybe I'll have another hour-long podcast of all of these videos together. Might be a good idea. And then Subverse is going to do the same thing, but we might actually do like a Saturday show where it's like weekly expert interview podcasts, and we're trying to figure it out. So the other thing I'll add is we're going to be running what we're calling the distributed newsroom on Minds, minds.com/subverse. It's the easiest place if you want to message me if you sign up. And then you can actually just come in and share stories. And some of the videos we've done, we've actually said this story came from so-and-so in the distributed newsroom. And we could use help with fact checking. The goal with this, as someone has accused me of trying to get free labor, and I'm like, dude, the goal of the Minds room, it's actually brilliant in my opinion, because you've got a news feed where you can submit stories that can be posted into the feed, and then a chat. The goal there is to just give some power back to the audience so we can have a balance between the editorial team, which would be like me, and the audience who might challenge whether or not we're actually correct. So think about this. Imagine if the New York Times had a section on their site where the audience could be like, this story's wrong and this is why, and everybody could see it. Ultimately, this is kind of the place we want to get to. I'm planning out something that we can do for Subverse in terms of news, where it's going to be a hybrid of the editorial team and the user base. Now, there's been some discussions from some big companies that want to do something similar, but the way I see it is, we want to, like, if I write a story and then someone submits a user story challenging that can appear on the front page too, saying like, here's a counter to this narrative. So if we do an interview with a bunch of people who are, striking for climate change, and people are upset we didn't highlight the opposing viewpoint, then someone could present a well-cited and submit it. There's a lot of work we have to do to get to that point, but that's where we're headed. I will end this video by saying, first of all, thanks for listening to this like channel update, rant, network update. I believe that within the next month or two, I might actually just completely surpass the Young Turks, which is a big milestone. Again, not a dig at them. It's kind of a point of respect. Nowhere near Crowder. Crowder's getting almost double what I'm getting. So he's really taken YouTube by storm. And he's kind of just doing like a late night talk show and interviews. So he's not even necessarily doing daily news the same way. It is a bit different, but man, he's absolutely just killing it. All I can say is my goal is to build out the network. Subverse is the next one. I've got a gaming channel, Timcast Games. That's going to be coming soon, but we might just put it under the umbrella of Subverse. It won't be on the same channel, but it would be like, Subverse Games or something. There's also going to be skateboarding videos, and the expansion is coming because all of you watch my videos, and that means the more you do, the more videos you watch, the more ads you see, all of that stuff means that I'm able to expand and try and do more. So you have my utmost respect. I wake up every day confused to why anyone cares what I have to say and why they listen to me talk for so long. But so long as you do, I will continue to make more, and we're going to see massive expansion. Check out Subverse, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you on the main channel at 4 p.m. Adios.